Most sleep advice is generic. Sleep 8 hours. Avoid screens before bed. Keep a consistent schedule. Limit caffeine after noon. Exercise regularly. These recommendations appear in every sleep article, every wellness newsletter, and every doctor's consultation that touches on tiredness. Most people who are consistently tired have heard all of it. Most of them are already doing most of it, and they are still tired. The reason generic sleep advice rarely solves individual sleep problems is that sleep disruption is almost always specific. The pattern of your disruption, whether you struggle to fall asleep, wake in the night, wake too early, or simply never feel rested regardless of hours slept, has a specific cause or combination of causes. Generic advice addresses the average case. Your case is not the average case. I used AI to identify the specific patterns disrupting my sleep and design a system around those specific patterns, not the standard recommendations. The targeted interventions for my actual situation. Here is what changed. Welcome to Tech Talk Tech. We upload every single day with fresh AI strategies. Subscribe now and hit the bell so you never miss tomorrow's voice. The diagnosis session. Before changing anything, I spent 90 minutes with Claude mapping my sleep patterns honestly. I described my sleep history in detail. What time I typically went to bed. What time I typically woke. Whether I fell asleep easily or lay awake. Whether I woke during the night and what woke me. Whether I felt rested after 8 hours or still tired after 9. What my energy levels looked like at different points in the day. And what had changed in my life in the periods when my sleep had been noticeably worse. Claude identified 3 patterns I had not clearly seen before. My sleep was highly variable, not consistently poor, but inconsistently unpredictable. Some nights were fine, some were terrible. The variability itself was the signal. Consistently poor sleep usually has a consistent cause. Variable sleep usually has a trigger, something that differs between good nights and bad ones. I was sleeping but not recovering. My hours were adequate, but my reported energy on waking was consistently low. This pattern, adequate hours without adequate restoration, often points to the later stages of sleep being disrupted rather than the early stages. I was falling asleep easily, but something was pulling me out of the deeper sleep phases before they could do their restorative work. And my worst nights clustered after specific types of days. High-stress days, days with late evening screen use, days where I had eaten late. The cluster was too consistent to be coincidence, but I had never mapped it clearly enough to see it. 3 patterns. The diagnosis took 90 minutes. The clarity was worth every minute. The 3 targeted interventions. Based on the 3 patterns, we designed 3 specific interventions rather than a complete sleep overhaul. 1 targeted intervention for each pattern. Not 10 changes simultaneously, because implementing 10 changes at once makes it impossible to identify which change produced which result. For the variability pattern, I introduced a sleep log. Every morning for 30 days, I recorded 4 data points: bedtime, wake time, how I felt on waking on a 1 to 5 scale, and one notable thing about the previous day: stress level, screen use, exercise, meal timing. For the recovery pattern, I moved my wake time 30 minutes earlier and added a brief high-intensity physical activity session in the morning. Morning light exposure and physical movement improve the depth and quality of subsequent sleep, not just the duration. I was sleeping enough hours. The goal was improving the quality of those hours. For the clustering pattern, I introduced 2 specific pre-sleep commitments on evenings most likely to trigger the pattern. No eating after 8 p.m. No screens from 30 minutes before bed. Not every night, specifically the evenings historically preceding bad nights. What the sleep log revealed. The sleep log was the most valuable tool in the entire system, and it produced an insight that no amount of generic advice could have provided. After 14 days of logging, I gave the complete log to Claude and asked it to identify any pattern in the relationship between my daily factors and my sleep quality scores. The relationship was clear. Late evening food was not reliably correlated with poor sleep. Screen use was moderately correlated. But the single strongest predictor of a poor night was a day where I had no outdoor time, no natural light, no outdoor movement, no time outside regardless of the reason. I had not expected this. I had expected the culprit to be screens or stress or caffeine, the usual suspects. The actual culprit for my specific sleep disruption was something none of the generic advice had addressed because it is not universal. It was specific to me. I added 30 minutes of outdoor time to every day, non-negotiable. And my sleep quality scores improved more significantly in the following 2 weeks than in the previous 4 weeks of the other interventions combined. The honest results. After 30 days after starting the system, 4 specific things had changed. I was waking feeling rested on more mornings than not, which had not been true for longer than I could clearly remember. The variability reduced significantly. The terrible nights became less frequent and less severe. My energy in the afternoon, historically my worst period, improved noticeably. Not perfectly, but enough to make the difference between a productive afternoon and an hour of fighting through diminishing returns. And I had an explanation for my sleep disruption that was specific, evidenced, and actionable, rather than a vague sense that I should probably do the standard things better. AI did not fix my sleep. The outdoor time fixed my sleep. AI helped me discover that outdoor time was the variable, through the kind of patient, specific, data-driven analysis that no generic advice system could have produced. Your action plan, starting today. Spend 30 minutes with Claude mapping your specific sleep patterns. Not the generic advice. Your patterns. Your history. Your clustered bad nights. Ask Claude to identify the most likely specific triggers based on what you describe. Then introduce one targeted intervention at a time. Track it. Let the data tell you what the generic advice cannot. What is the most consistent thing about your worst nights of sleep? Drop it in the comments. I personally reply to every comment. If this gave you a more targeted approach to fixing your specific sleep problems, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to Tech Talk Tech. We upload every single day. See you tomorrow.